Welcome, and thank you for signing up as an adorer at the Perpetual Adoration Chapel here in Christchurch. Currently we have over 250 people on the Adoration roster who turn up every week to adore for an hour. My name is Matt O'Connell and I'm the Diocesan Coordinator for the Adoration Chapel. The following is a brief induction video. Please watch it carefully and do contact me with any questions or concerns. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy being part of the Adoration Chapel. So during the hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m, we park in the car park out the back of St Gregory's Chapel. It's a very short walkway to the entrance of the chapel, and the entrance is off Colesbury Street. So during the day, between 8 a.m. 8 p.m, just park out the back here. So the first thing to do when you enter the Adoration Chapel is to sign in. And you come into the door, and here's the sign-in table here. The reason we sign in is that it allows the adorers here before you to know that someone else has arrived and they can leave. So basically you simply come in, you see your hour there, you sign your name, and then take your seat. So that's the first thing you do when you enter the chapel, is to sign in. When you get to the end of your hour, always wait for the next adorer to come, and that can be a bit difficult at times because there could be a number of visitors. So it's always good to check the sign-in sheet before you leave, and if someone signed in for the hour after you, then you know you're free to leave. That's why we encourage adorers to always come 5 minutes early, get themselves settled, sign in. So always check that the person coming after you is here before you leave. We've got a number of security features to enable security and safety in the chapel. So looking up here, we've got a video camera that's on 24/7. It's not live anywhere, it just records, so it's a retrospective thing, but we can access any information if we need to. So just be assured you're not being recorded live and no one's watching it, but we can look at it if anything happens. Over here we've got a fire alarm, so if there's any issues with fire and things, break the switch. We've got fire extinguisher, and I'll send you a link to how to use that, but we've got a fire extinguisher there. We also have a phone just over here if you need to contact anyone. Just above the sign-in table, we have our emergency phone numbers. So obviously we've got 111 for ambulance, fire, police. We also have every day leader. So every day has a day leader in charge. It has their number, their phone, and their cell phone. We also have some after-hours emergency contacts. So if you need someone here at night and you want to ring someone, there's 3 numbers there, and of course my numbers. Being a Diocesan Coordinator, you can contact me. And also we've got the number for the chapel phone, so if you're waiting for someone to ring you back, they can ring on that. We have the ringer turned down, so obviously if you're adoring other people are here, we don't want to start ringing. Also on the sign-in table, we have a book where you can give any feedback. So often if there is an issue or a light is out or something happens, you can write a note in that, and I'll check that every week and then address that. So that's the chapel feedback book. We also have a black folder, which needs replacing because there's a few marks on it. But in there, it has all our policies. So again, it's got all our day leader contacts, which we saw on the wall. It's got the hours where groups adore, so sometimes there's a bit of music. But it also has our policies, everything from security of the Blessed Sacrament to how to repose in an emergency, and all the information that you normally would have got instead of watching the video. So everything you need to know is in here. It also has a risk management plan. So all the details, you need to know something while you're in the chapel, it's in this folder. Another security feature for those who are adoring at night, especially if you're by yourself, is that you can lock the door. So the door has a little number, so you can lock the door and then no one can come in. And we've always told the adorers afterwards, if they find the door locked, to simply knock on the door 3 times for the sign for the Trinity, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the adorer will then come and open the door. But if you need to feel safe during the middle of the night, then please feel free to lock the door. One of the big questions for adorers is what to do in an emergency or a disaster. So that could be anything from an adorer not turning up, which happens every now and then if someone sleeps in or doesn't wake up to the alarm or has a flat tire, to anything like another earthquake or something like that. So all our policies are set out in the black manuals I talked about, but I guess the overriding principle first is that we must never leave the Blessed Sacrament alone. So if you're in the chapel by yourself and your adorer after you hasn't turned up, what then are your options? The first thing is to make sure you have the contact number of the person who comes after you. So I can facilitate that through myself. You contact me, Matt, and I'll arrange that. So the first thing to do is give them a call. Where are you coming if you've forgotten? If you can't get hold of them, the next recourse is to contact your day leader. And again, the details are up on here, or you have them in your phone. So contact your day leader and let them know what's happening. If you can stay, then that's great. And it happens sometimes people just stay for an extra hour or stay till someone else turns up. Sometimes we have visitors and we don't know how long they're going to stay for. So if you are going to leave, it's always best to check with whoever's in the chapel, if they're not to register the door, how long they're going to be here for. Because if they're only popping in for 5 minutes, you can't guarantee they're going to stay for any longer. But in the end, if you have to leave, and that often happens too, if people have another appointment, then the thing to do in an emergency situation is to learn how to repose in the Blessed Sacrament. And I'm going to show you in a minute how to do that. All the instructions are firstly on the wall behind me, so just follow the instructions. But I'm going to go now and show you how to repose the Blessed Sacrament in an emergency. So one of the things I mentioned earlier is the possibility of having to repose the Blessed Sacrament in an emergency. And as I said, the instructions are on the wall as you come in next to the sign table. But I want to show you now how to do it if you have to do it. It's only happened a couple of times in the 7-year history of the chapel, but it's still good to know what to do in an emergency. So this is not the chapel monstrance, this is a parish monstrance. We're going to use this for our purposes. So the Blessed Sacrament is not in here, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So first thing you would do is you would turn the monstrance around, so it signifies that the Lord is not present, and then open it up. So on the table behind me is a big lunette, which is where the Blessed Sacrament goes, so we repose during Mass. So I would open this up, have it next to me, and I would simply take out the Blessed Sacrament, which is a little piece there, and I'll place it into this container, and I'll close the container. The next step is to then place the container into the tabernacle. So as I kneel down behind this altar, under the altar on my left-hand side is a little ledge. And if I move my hand around, I can find a little container like that, which has got the tabernacle key in there. So I simply open this container up. Firstly, I walk over to the tabernacle, which is just onto my left-hand side here, and I'll place the key into the tabernacle, and then I would open the tabernacle up. I won't do that now, but I would open the tabernacle up, and come back to the altar, and simply take our Lord in this container, over to the tabernacle, place into the tabernacle, and then again I would lock the tabernacle with the key, and put the key back where I got it from. As you're doing this, or at the end, you might like to say a prayer as you do this as well. So I put the key back into the little container, that goes back on the ledge under the altar, and then we're done. What I do then is I leave the monstrance facing this way. So that means that anyone coming into the chapel knows that our Blessed Sacrament, that the Lord is not present. I then extinguish the candles, which are here already extinguished, and then you just leave the chapel. If it's an emergency such as an earthquake or snowing, then you lock the door behind you as you go, which is you can do. Otherwise, if you're just reposing because someone hasn't turned up and you have to go, then leave the door open and the day leader or myself or someone will come back to the chapel and expose the Blessed Sacrament. If you need to go to the toilet during the day, and if there's nothing on during the church, then feel free to make your way through the church into the toilets. If it's a Sunday, or there's a mass on, or there's a funeral mass, or something else is going on in church, then you'll have to exit the Adoration chapel door and go back out through the main doors into the church arena and then follow the toilets through there. So for your warmth and comfort in the Adoration chapel during the winter, and also for your cooling down in the summer, we have the heat pump, which is just here. The controller's on the wall, and all the instructions to use it is there. So feel free to turn it off, turn it on, turn it up, turn it down, anything that you need to do to make you feel comfortable. So one of the things we have in the chapel is the prayer intention box. And so you can take a piece of paper which sits on the side of the table and a pen and write your prayer intentions and put them in that box. Every Tuesday morning and Thursday morning at 7:20, Father Alan Jones says Mass for all the intentions in the box. And it gets cleared once a week, and the intentions are burnt or destroyed in a secure way. So feel free to use that prayer intention box anytime you're in the chapel for your intentions and the intentions of others. So at the back of the chapel here, we've got all our candles are stored in this wooden box. So that's topped up every week, so all our candles are there. We've got all the instructions that we need to to change the candles. The next 4 candles are always set up, so if you're changing the candles, you get your 4 candles you need from here, take them up to the altar, which I'll demonstrate in a minute, and then take off the 4 other candle stands that are there and replace them with fresh candles, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute too. We have our matches there, we have a snuffer to snuff the candles, and we also have a little container here which we put the leftover candle butts in there. So I'm going to demonstrate now how to change the candles for you to have a look at. The first thing I always do is I light the new candles. I brought the matches up with me, new candles are lit. And then I'll use the snuffer to snuff the existing candles. The key thing here is to not pick them up straight away, because we've had people pick them up straight away and then wax starts dripping over the altar and over the floor. So I'll snuff them, I'll leave them there for a couple of minutes until they're dry, and then I'll take them back down to the candle table. So while I'm waiting, I'll take the snuffer back and I'll take the matches back down to the candle table. And so I'll just wait for a minute and then I'll check the candles are dry and then I'll take them down to the candle table. One thing while I'm waiting is we try and do the candles, if we can, sort of around about the change of an hour, so on the hour when people are coming and going. It's not always possible because some people let them go a bit too low. The other thing is not to let them, some people will change the candles and there's quite a lot of candle left, and the candles are reasonably expensive, so it's just sort of judging that they're low enough to take out but not too low that you can't get them out. So in this case, these ones here, I probably would have left them slightly longer, but it's not too much. We do donate the candle wax to people who need it, but it's just a judgment call. So they're dry now, so I'll just take first 2. Sometimes I'll take all 4, making sure they're all dry. Yep, they're all dry. So I'll take them all back down to the candle table. So I've taken the candlesticks with the existing candles back down to the candle table. So now I simply remove them and put them in the little basket here. There we go. Get rid of a bit of extra wax. And then simply I just replace them with the new candles. And that basically means that they're all ready for the next person who comes in. Got my candles ready, put that back on. So once I've taken the old candles back, I just basically position them in position, equal both sides. Some people like doing different sort of styles, but I usually just do one forward, one back. But you can decide how you want to do that. And there we go, you've executed a successful candle change. One of the things you can do if in an emergency or you need some help is you can seek help from the presbytery, which is right next door to the Adoration Chapel. Through the window here, you might be able to see the presbytery. There are 3 priests living there and a seminary. So if you do need help and you can't get hold of anyone or you just need something, go and knock on the door and I'm sure that one of the priests will be home and can help you, especially at night time. Just to cover other general points, you would have seen during this video that the chapel is quite small. So we're just going to try and encourage people to be quiet and respectful of other people adoring. There are a number of hours during the week that people have booked an hour, and so during that hour, a group comes to the chapel and they can sing, pray prayers out loud and be silent. But other times, the majority of the hours, we ask everyone to be silent and respectful. So if we do have a disaster in the chapel, a natural disaster, that could mean snow or an earthquake, and we do have policies for that, as I said before, in the back folder. But basically, the thing to do in that situation is to repose the Blessed Sacrament as quickly as possible and make your way home. So if you're in the middle of the night and it started snowing heavily and you're feeling unsafe and you want to go, then obviously you bring your day leader or the emergency contacts, repose the Blessed Sacrament and head home. During the time the chapel's been open, the 7.5 years, it hasn't snowed at all, or it has snowed, but we haven't had to close the chapel, but I'm sure it's going to happen one day soon. So we do have a policy about it, but it's good to think about that. Obviously, the chapel opened after the major earthquake, so we never had to close because of an earthquake. The same situation applies. Get yourself safe, get the Blessed Sacrament reserved and away, and then lock the door and get home. One of the things we must never do in the Adoration Chapel is to touch the monstrance. The only time we're permitted to touch the monstrance is to repose in an emergency. So any other time, please do not approach, please do not touch it or place your forehead against it. And the church is very strong about us not touching the blessed sacrament in the monstrance at all. As you will be aware, there has been a strong drive to build and ensure a culture of safeguarding in the Catholic Church in New Zealand over the last few years. The National Office for Professional Standards has led this on behalf of the New Zealand Catholic Bishops' Conference. The Catholic Diocese of Christchurch is committed to and prioritises the safeguarding of everyone, in particular our children and vulnerable adults. Because the Perpetual Adoration Chapel is part of the Catholic Diocese of Christchurch, we are required to adhere to the policies of the diocese and comply with all safeguarding policies. For me as your diocesan coordinator and your day leaders, this means A. We have signed the New Zealand Catholic Bishops' Conference Code of Conduct and Volunteer Agreement. The agreement contains clear expectations of a volunteer day leader for the Adoration Chapel. B. We've each attended a safeguarding workshop. C. Each of us has been police vetted. And D. Myself and all the day leaders have read and understood the relevant safeguarding policies. In addition, the following actions are being undertaken. A. Further develop a code of conduct expectations for all adorers. B. Display the safeguarding poster in the chapel. And finally, I am the initial contact for safeguarding queries, and the contact for complaints is listed on the wall in the chapel. So thank you for watching this short induction video. If you've got any questions or anything is not clear, please contact me. My details are at the bottom of this video. I would have also sent you all the written material, so there's stuff in there as well. But any other questions, anything I've missed out, or anything you want to know or not sure about, please do contact me. Thank you once again for signing up to the Adoration Chapel, and thank you for watching this video. God bless you all.